Hi everyone, welcome to Vinyasa Flow Yoga. It's Monday and we're going to do some balancing poses today. Well, that's going to be our focus. I have balancing poses in all the classes, but this will be kind of more of a focus on balancing and just kind of some modifications that you may want to try if you're having a tough time getting into certain balancing poses. But we're also going to do a bit of a flow, and it's kind of, we're going to work the whole body for a good stretch and strength kind of flow. So you may want a block or a strap if you have one handy, but if you don't, then I'll just show you modifications for that. If you don't have any props, that's fine. And other than that, you just need your mat and maybe some water, and we'll get started. So come onto your mat in child's pose. So you're just bringing your knees wide and your big toes are touching, and stretch forward. So arms out long, but then bend into your elbows so that your shoulders can sink down a little bit lower, and feel your hips sink back towards your heels. Kind of pressing into the floor a little bit with your hands so that you can get that pull back into your hips and keep stretching the spine out long. So with every inhale, you want to think of length happening through the spine, and every exhale, you want to think about sinking down through the shoulders and through the hips. Allow your head and your neck to be heavy. So we'll find about 3 more deep breaths in and out here, just allowing yourself to arrive mentally into your space, into your body. All right, so go ahead and lift up just a little bit and then walk over to the left side and reach out at an angle with both arms. Bow the head again and just keep pulling those hips back. Breathing into the right side of the body. And then lift up and walk over to the other side. Keep sinking down low, heavy head. Keep that connection to your breath. And then back to center. Bring your palms together on your mat, and then forehead to the floor. You're going to bend into your elbows and bring the thumbs to the back of the neck. And one more deep breath in and out. And then release the hands down, arms down, and rise up from there to tabletop pose. Bring your hands underneath your shoulders and your knees underneath your hips. Begin to round the spine, come into cat arch. And inhale, release the belly, lift chin, chest forward, and pull the shoulders back. Exhale, round the spine. Inhale, release the spine. So I'm just getting the spine mobile here. And front body. Begin moving around circle motion now. Pick a direction to move into and just kind of keep loose through your joints. So your shoulders, your elbows. Switching the direction up and just keep breathing into the stretch that you feel. Slight engagement through the core. All right, and then come back to center. So in tabletop, just try to keep a neutral spine, then walk the hands over to the left and just feeling that stretch there on that right side of the body. And then over to the other side. Stay upright and just kind of keeping the hips squaring straight forward so that you get the stretch on that left side of the body. And then back to center. Round the spine. Inhale, release the spine, and then come back to neutral spine. Okay, so the very first balance pose we do in a lot of classes is the bird dog pose. So it's just kind of the basic, just trying to take a limb off the floor in any way. So we're going to first take that right leg off. So this is very basic balancing here. So just holding that and noticing how your body kind of compensates and in which areas. So probably right away you'll feel that in your core, and you'll feel that your hamstrings fire up and your glute muscles on the right side fire up. So just paying attention to that sensation here. And then the next is taking another limb off. So you're taking that left arm forward and finding the bird dog pose. Okay, so just trying to keep a neutral spine. And again, just paying attention to your core firing up there, the muscles. And then kind of, it's pretty easy to kind of stabilize in this pose because we got the whole left shin to balance on, and fingers are spread nice and wide on the right side. Go ahead and release down, and then we'll switch sides. So starting with the left leg, coming back behind you. Doesn't have to be super high, it can be just down here. Just finding, again, just that sensation. Initial sensation, just noticing what muscles are firing up, how your shoulders are taking that extra weight from the leg lifting off the floor. When you're ready, you can take that right arm off the floor, and then you're just trying to stay lifted and stay reaching. So reaching is another really important kind of thing in these balancing poses. When you're you start to engage the limbs that are lifted and reach them out nice and long as you can. And that engages your oblique muscles and your core muscles and your back muscles a little bit more. Kind of makes them a little more excited to be lifting, and then it'll just kind of fire up more muscles to help you stabilize in the pose. Let it go, and then round the spine. And release the spine. Another time, exhale and inhale. Come back to center. We're just going to go for a stretch now. Take that left leg out to the left, toes pointing forward. Come on up, we'll take gate pose. So reach up with both arms and then take that left arm down to the left leg. So right arm over the ear and reaching out so you get that right side stretch here. And then letting that go, and then we're just going over to the other side. We're going to plant that right hand to the floor and lift that left arm up. Okay, so if you're ready here, you can lift up that left leg. And again, just another sort of balance pose here where you're nice and low to the ground. Try to reach out through that leg. You may feel cramping if you're not used to this, and if you have, tighter hip muscles, hip flexor muscles, then you may feel cramping. And then we're releasing the leg down and then coming back up. And then we're just taking a little bit of a back bend. So taking the hands onto the low back and then pull back through the shoulders, lift the heart. Just a gentle back bend, and then lift forward and then walk all the way down. Reach way forward now. Pull the hips back and breathe. Start to rise back up. Bring your hands underneath your shoulders and then bring that left leg back in, and then do the same on the other side here. So right leg is extending out and reaching up with both arms. That right arm is going to come down. Breathing into the left side of the body. One more breath. Inhale and then exhale, release, and then go down. Plant that left hand to the floor, right arm reaching. So again, feel free to stay here in this position or try and lift that right leg. If you need to, you can also bend into the knee, and that way it just kind of shortens your lever there. So this is more advanced, straightening of that leg, less advanced, bending the knee. Another deep breath in, and then you can lower that leg down and then come right back up, reaching up, and then take the hands back behind you. Again, just on your low back, just to take a little back arch, opening the chest, pull the shoulders back, so you're opening the shoulders, and releasing, and then coming forward into a variation of puppy pose. So walking the hands forward and pull the hips back. Stretch long to activate this pose here. You're kind of reaching out through that right leg, pressing out through the outer edge of the heel, pushing into the floor with your hands to pull back through the hips. Come on back up. Walk your hands underneath you and then bring the knee back in, round the spine, cat, and then cow, and bring it back to neutral. Walk the hands forward now and lift the tuck toes, lift the hips, come into down dog. Walk it out. Bending right knee, left knee. Moving just kind of all around. And even here you can kind of play around with weight transfer, because that's basically what all the balances poses are going to be about. It's kind of transferring the weight. So you can play around, taking the right hand off the floor, left hand off the floor, right hand, left hand, lifting the heel, lifting the right foot, lifting the left foot, right foot, left foot. Okay, and just kind of play around with that weight transfer while in down dog. Okay, lift the heels, inhale, and then bend into your knees. Hold that. Squeeze back through the hips, press through the hands, look forward and step up to the hands and come to the top of the mat, folding forward. Just letting your head drop and head be heavy. Breathing into your back. Pick up the toes, spread them out wide. Your standing balancing poses, it's all going to be about your feet, right? So you need to really pay attention to how your weight is kind of spread out throughout your feet, your toes, your inner arches, your outer arches, and your heels. Okay. Coming back to center and then rise up all the way. So reach up to the ceiling, inhale. Exhale, release the arms down. Sweep up again. Inhale. Exhale, hands down to the center and clasp your fingers, press down, lift the arms. Inhale, exhale, hands come back, clasping behind you, pull back, inhale, exhale, fold forward. Inhale, rise up, arms reach up. Exhale, down through the center. Inhale, lift the arms. Exhale, release back behind you. Inhale, pull back. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, rise up. Exhale, down through the center. Inhale, lift up. Exhale, release back. Inhale, open the heart. Exhale, bow forward. Inhale, rise up. Exhale. Inhale, now side bending to the right. Reaching. Fingers are clasped and you're side bending. Legs engaged, kneecaps lifting. Pressing your left hip out to the left. Come back to center, go to the other side. Reach through those arms. Keep breathing. Lift tall. Come back to center. Take the hands back behind you. Clasp them. Step your feet wide. Pull the arms back. Take another deep breath in. Exhale, bow forward, hold that. Arms lifting, shoulders rolling down or pulling up towards the hands. And rise back up. Reach up with both arms. Right arm down by the right side, and then left arm down by the left side. Right arm down, over, and left arm down. All right, reaching up, inhale and then exhale. Let's get into some sun salutations, warm up the body a little bit more, and then we'll start getting into a little bit more balancing sequences. Lift the arms up, take a deep breath in, exhale, fold forward, inhale, halfway, exhale, hands to the floor and step your right foot back, drop your right knee down and take the arms up, inhale, exhale, hands to the floor, step back into plank pose. Lower through chaturanga, inhale to up dog, exhale to down dog. Step your right foot forward, left knee down, arms reach up, exhale, hands to the floor, step forward to the top, inhale halfway, exhale, fold, inhale, rise up, exhale, bring it down, inhale halfway, exhale, hands to the floor, left foot steps back, down, inhale, exhale. Step back, plank pose, 3 or 4-legged chaturanga. So we're coming down, lifting to up dog, exhale to down dog. Step your left foot forward, right knee down. Inhale, exhale. Step forward to the top. Inhale halfway, exhale fold, inhale rise. And again, exhale. Inhale halfway, exhale fold. Right foot steps back. Inhale, lift. Exhale, step back. Plank pose, chaturanga. Up dog, down dog. Right foot steps. Left knee down. Inhale, exhale. Step forward to the top. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, rise up. One more time on the other side. Exhale, lower through. Inhale, halfway. Exhale, left foot steps back. Inhale, lift the arms. Exhale, chaturanga. Up dog cobra. Down dog, left foot steps forward. Right knee down. Exhale, step forward to the top. Inhale halfway. Exhale, fold, and then inhale, rise up. Okay, so we just did that nice and fast here to get the blood pumping, and now we're going to do sun salutation breakdown with some balance options here. So we're going to, again, so we're going to lift up through the arms. Exhale, come on down. Inhale, halfway lift. And then exhale, step your right foot back. Drop your right knee down. And take the arms up. Just hold this for the stretch. Breathing deep. One more breath in. And then exhale, hands to the floor. Step back into plank pose. 3 or 4-legged plank pose. So if possible, take it to 3-legged plank pose. That is your left leg lifting off the ground. Okay, from here, we're going to take that left leg and kick it underneath the right leg, spinning on that right foot so your left leg is underneath and kicking out to the side. If that's not doable, bring that foot to the floor and reach out through your right arm. So that is a balance pose, side plank balance pose, 3-legged plank to side plank. And then come around back to the 3-legged plank pose, and you can do this with the knee to the floor to modify that right knee to the floor. Hold, and then you're lowering through chaturanga, and then lifting into up dog, and then that leg finally comes down when you come into that up dog. Okay, we're going to exhale back into downward facing dog, and the right foot steps forward. The left knee comes to the floor. We're holding that crescent lunge here, just kind of letting the hips sink and opening the heart here. And then taking the hands down to the floor and then stepping forward to the top of the mat. Halfway lift, exhale, fold, and and then inhale, rise up all the way. Exhale, fold forward. Left leg steps back, left knee down to the floor, arms reaching up. Hands down to the floor. Okay, now that right leg comes back and you're holding that plank pose. So the right leg lifted in the plank pose. So again, you're holding that, dropping the knee if you can't hold it, if it feels like it's too much on your shoulders, then this is where you start. And then when you build that, when you start getting stronger by holding this in your core, then you're lifting that knee up to progress. Now we're going to do that spin to the side plank, so that right leg is going to come underneath the left leg. Here you'll be able to see it better, so that right leg is floating underneath or dropping to the floor. So you can try kind of hooking the heel up if you want to. You can kind of float, bending the knee a little bit, just to make it a little bit easier. And then come back around. Again, either holding that three-legged plank pose or drop the left knee to the floor and try to keep hovering. So instead of just going to plank pose, try to keep that right leg up. Okay, so it's either keep the right leg up with the left knee off the floor or the left knee on the floor. Okay, go ahead, lower through chaturanga. And then up dog cobra. And then back into downward facing dog. Breathe it out. Left foot steps forward. Drop the knee to the floor, right knee to the floor, reaching up. And then hands to the floor. And then step to the top of the mat. Halfway lift, inhale. Exhale, fold forward. And then inhale, rise up. So standing at the top of the mat, we're just going to kind of practice a little bit of some standing, taking the foot off the floor, balancing poses. So first we're going to do the work on the outer hip. So we're going to take that right leg off the floor, out to the side. So you won't get a ton of range of motion because, usually if it's like weak or tight hips, outer hip, it's kind of a combination of both that will impede range of motion. So it's typically, you don't typically get a high range of motion in this pose, but doesn't matter. You want to stay straight up and you just want to feel that muscle firing. So you should feel the outer hip fire up and you feel your glute as well fire up behind you. And of course you're just paying attention to the left foot and kind of the ankle and the stabilizer muscles, just kind of compensating for that right foot off the floor here. Okay, and then bring it back onto the floor and then switch sides. So you can always shake it up before you get ready to do the other side as well. Sometimes that helps. So paying attention to your right foot and then go out with that left leg now. So and again, anything you want to do with your hands, I like to talk with my hands, but you can bring your hands together, prayer, or hands onto your hips, or reaching up. Doesn't really matter, but we're focusing on the low body right now. But we do need to keep that posture kind of lifted as best as you can, because that'll that lifting action or that feel of the lifting action will engage your core, and that'll keep you from kind of wobbling all over the place. Okay, one more breath, and then lower back down. Okay, stepping back to the top of the mat, reach up, deep breath in, and then exhale, fold forward. Halfway lift, inhale, exhale. Step or jump back, find plank, lower through chaturanga, to up dog, and then take it to down dog. Now down dog, we do this quite a bit, just a three-legged down dog as well. So there's a progression there. This could be your first progression, just lifting the foot up off the floor, the next, and then bending into your right knee for a little bit more hip opening and balancing as well. So not really typically seen as a balancing pose, foot it is. You are only on 3 limbs when you're supposed to be in 4. And you're throwing, the opening of the hip is kind of throwing yourself off a little bit of balance. So you do need to engage the core to kind of compensate for that. We're going to step the right foot forward, and then the left heel is going to come to the floor. So we're just going to come up into a warrior stance. This could be a balance pose for a lot of people. Just kind of finding a lunge pose may be tricky. So what you want to do is kind of look at your alignment too. If you feel like you're always wobbly in a lunge pose, then you could widen your gait. So a lot of times people kind of step kind of more on a tightrope. So your heel is in line with your back heel, your front heel is in line with your back heel. But if you step your, so your back leg, your left leg, out to the left a little bit more, just even an inch, you may be able to just kind of find your ground a little bit. And then you're not on that tightrope, you're more on a railroad track, or more of a skinny railroad track than tightrope. So you've opened up your hips and you've got a little bit more ground to stand on, as opposed to kind of this wobbly stance. And then from there, you can do your poses. So your warrior 2, your warrior 1, where you're facing forward, your reverse warrior, and come back into reverse warrior and hold that. Breathing deep. And then warrior 2 again, and then facing forward into warrior 1. Okay, come on down. We'll vinyasa through, and then we'll do the other side. So into up dog or cobra, and then back into downward facing dog. Let's go left leg. So again, finding your 3-legged down dog, lifting it up. And this may be not new for people that have been practicing for a while, but we're holding these poses for a little bit longer, so it may be challenging just because we are holding them for a little bit longer. So let's step that left foot forward. And also, if you've been doing yoga for a while, it's easy to kind of get complacent in your stance. You kind of just feel that that's your stance, and there's no other way to do it. So it's always good to just kind of keep in check how you feel, and say so I'm in the warrior 1 position right now with my legs, but if someone were to kind of tip me on the shoulder, would you fall off over to the other side, one side or the other? Like, how strong do you feel in the pose? So just play around. Again, like I said, you can step on this side, step your right foot out to the right, or maybe heel toe your front foot out to the left a little bit more. Opening your gait so that you're solid and you can sink down a little bit more. You feel the strength in your legs so that we can go through the arm movement. Let's start with warrior 1. Go to warrior 2. Go back into reverse warrior and hold that. Notice if you can sink down, maybe bending into your front knee a little bit more. Back leg is always going to be fired up in these warrior positions. Take it back to warrior 2 pose, and then face forward into warrior 1. Okay, let's bring it on down, stepping back into plank pose. Let's go with some side plank poses again. Let's go onto the right side. So spread your fingers nice and wide on your right hand. Spin the heels so that you're on your right side. So stacking your heels for your side plank. If you want to, again, try any variation of this, so star side plank or tree side plank, placing the foot in the inside part of your right foot. Again, that is a balance position. Otherwise, if you're just working on side plank, what you need to do is just practice side plank. You don't need to make it more complicated than that. Once you get stronger and you practice enough, then then you start to add on the fancy moves. Okay, come on back to plank pose and then go to the other side. So again, just kind of spinning on the heels, finding your side plank, finding your star side plank, or finding your tree side plank. Finding that alignment, shoulder over shoulder. The shoulders just back behind the wrist on the left arm, just behind it. And then coming back out of that pose to plank, chaturanga, up dog or cobra, and then take a rest. Come to child's pose and just settle back here for a moment. By the way, just come into child's pose whenever you need to, because I'll be kind of talking and we'll be balancing, and yeah, you just kind of sometimes need some breaks and then get back into the practice when you're ready, and that is completely fine as well. It's a video, so you can watch it over again and practice again. And then when you're ready here, come on up to plank pose, up to down dog, walk it up. Okay, so we're going to add on a little bit more difficulty here for balancing. We're going to start with that right leg lifting up. Again, you can do the bend into the knee, open up the hip, three-legged down dog if you want to. Okay, so now we're going to bring it all in. So it's going to be all core. We're taking that right knee to the right elbow. So coming forward in our balance. So what you want to do there is push the elbow back into the knee, or the forearm back into the knee to stick it there. I'm just going to turn around. Okay, and if you need to, drop that back knee onto the floor so you can kind of hold it there. So what that's doing is kind of training your oblique muscles. It's getting your core stronger, it's getting your shoulders stronger, just to kind of hold that. And it's also putting your kind of pelvis in a posterior tilt while you're in this core move as well. So a lot of the things are firing up. You're stretching your hip as you're doing this move as well. My knee is onto the floor, but you can have, you're in that plank. Okay, step back, down dog, walk it out, and then we'll do the other side. I'm just going to continue facing this way. The left leg is going to lift up. Okay, and then we're bringing it forward. So left knee comes right up to the elbow. On the outside of the elbow or inside, try to push the hand or the arm back into the leg, and that kind of creates a little bit of stability there. And then your core and your shoulders, your legs kind of take up the rest. Keep holding, squeezing, rounding your spine, pushing into the floor, and then release. Kick back, down dog, walk it out. Like I said, your knee can come to the floor for that position. Bring the knees onto the floor, and then we're just going to do a counter pose, coming into a back bend, a little bit of a back bend to counteract that pose. So we're reaching up through the arms. We're not going back all the way into camel. Knees are on the floor. And just holding this position. Arms lifted, feeling the top part of the body open, and the abdominals gauge just enough. So we don't want to go back into a back bend so far where we're not breathing, or we're putting a little bit, a lot more stress on the back. This is just enough. Feel the sides of the body opening. Take another deep breath in, and then release. Take the hands onto the floor and tuck toes under. Come up into down dog. All right. Next, right leg is going to lift. Open up that hip, bend into the knee. Let's step forward into a runner's lunge. So again, this is another one where, so runner's lunge with your hands onto the floor, but then your high lunge is kind of coming up. But again, this, you could either be walking on a tightrope or railroad tracks here. So if you find that you're really wobbly, like right off the bat, then try to teach yourself to, when you step forward, just step your front foot a little bit wider and then rise up, and then you'll feel a little more a little more grounded in your hips because you've just widened your gait. You don't want to widen it so much, but just enough so that you can just feel like, again, you're strong and you can do the arm movements and your legs are doing what they're supposed to be doing, engaging in all the right places. Front knee is going to be always over the front ankle for your lunge positions. Back leg is going to be fired up, and glute muscle on that back leg is going to be fired up too because it's active lunge. We are going to reach up and we're going to take it into a flying pose from here. So first we're going to start with the hands to the heart, shift the weight forward. So the weight's onto your right leg, and then from here we're going to, so if you're first, we're going to do a little bit of a practice run first. So we're going to shift the weight forward, lift the leg, and then come back, and then drop the knee and just kind of take that load off that front leg. Lift that knee, shift the weight forward, so you're just hinging at the hip, and then kick up that leg, and then bring it back down, and then drop back down to the knee. One more time, lift the knee, hinge, kick up, down, and then. So that could be your practice just to kind of get into those flying lunges. We'll get into the actual balance pose in a bit. We're going to go to the other side first. So just bring those hands onto the floor, step back in plank pose, lower third chaturanga, up dog, down dog, and then the left foot's going to step forward. We don't want to overload the one side before we do some holds and balancing poses, but just enough to get those glute muscles activated. So in the high lunge, again, check out your gait stance, feel strong, feel comfortable in your front foot, fired up in your back leg, and your back glute as well, and just holding and breathing. Okay, let's go right away. So hinging forward, so back still is flat here, keep your chest lifting up, shift the weight, take the foot off just for a second or two, and then come back down, and then drop the knee and just kind of lean back a little bit so the load is off of that front leg. It has a little bit of a rest. Lift up that knee, come forward, go ahead, kick up, down, knee comes back down, again, shift back, make sure that that quad fully releases, so you can shift back enough so that the quad actually released, and then do the third one. Come back, forward, kick up, down, okay, and then again, shift back, release. Okay, bring the hands down to the floor, step back in plank, lower through chaturanga, up dog cobra, down dog. Walk it out. Right leg lifts, bend into the knee, step forward. All right, you guys, okay, coming up to a high lunge pose, hands to the heart, right away come forward. This is it, we're coming off the ground. And if you need to kind of step back and do this a few times, just to kind of get your ground and get your muscles used to that sensation, then do that. So hands at heart, hands at hips. If you're comfortable, take your arms out to airplane pose. If you're really comfortable, then you're reaching your arms forward in your warrior 3 position, and you're practicing that. So whatever you think that you need to practice on, then that's what you're doing right now. Kind of whatever you've progressed to at this moment, you're doing that. Okay, and then we're just going to release, coming back all the way down to the ground. So you step back into that lunge, and then we'll come up for a crescent lunge. We'll take it into a twist, just to kind of open up the body a little bit more before we move to the other side. So we're going to take it into a prayer twist, hands to the heart. That left elbow is going to go on the right knee, and you're twisting. It's a good stretch too, and you'll feel that in your outer hip and maybe your IT band as well a little bit. Obliques, you can go to high lunge, and then letting it go. We're not going to stay there that long. So hands to the floor, step back into plank, chaturanga, up dog, down dog. Walk it out. Let's go to the other side. Left leg lifts. You step forward, finding that lunge position, and then when you're ready, hands to heart, hinging forward, and when you're ready, go ahead and lift off and holding that. So try not to do this. I see this a lot. I'm gonna step back in the camera. I see this a lot where you're just kind of all coming down here. You want to stay lifted as best you can. So if you're staying lifted, then that's going to give your core a chance to engage, and your back muscles, that including your back muscles and your posterior chain, to engage. Once you come down here, then you're just kind of stretching your back, and you're not kind of practicing that core engagement while you're in the balance pose. So if you need to practice in front of a mirror, just to see, because sometimes you don't know until you see yourself or someone tells you, you're coming down here and you're moving into more of a stretch pose. Okay, release, come down, and then reach your arms up, and then prayer twist. So take your right elbow on your left knee, and so again, you can either stay down here. You can be up here, by the way. You don't have to go super deep in the twist. Just a little bit of twist, opening your chest, rotating your shoulders. You'll feel that stretch on the outer hip. You don't have to be down here super low. We're going to release out, hands to the floor, step back plank, chaturanga, up dog, and we'll take a rest. So knees onto the floor and settle back to child's pose, and just breathing deep there. All right, so come on up. Tuck toes under, come up, down dog, walk it out. All right, step, hop forward, come to the top of the mat. We're gonna do some more standing and balancing sequences here. Here's where you just want the hamstrings to be warmed up, and I think we did a pretty good job already, just kind of getting the hamstrings mostly warmed up. But we'll see, coming back. Here's where you want your strap. If you've grabbed your strap, we're going to do hand to big toe position with a strap. So if you don't have one, then, well, I'll go into it. Maybe I'll just go into it without a strap first, just to show you. And then if you have the strap, then you can follow along. So balancing on the left foot, we're going to take up that right knee and hold onto it. But if you're here and this is a balance challenge for you, then this is where you're gonna go. You're not gonna need a strap. You're just gonna hold this. So what we wanna do is not hold on to anything. So if you're used to holding onto a wall or a chair, don't, because you need to practice this first and then we'll progress. So if you're fine with holding that position, then you're holding here, reaching down a little bit more and grabbing onto your toe. And then maybe extending the leg to get into the full pose, big hand to toe, and then think about the tailbone dropping down, not necessarily tailbone tucking under, but just dropping down, but lifting up in your posture. Okay, if you want a strap and you just want to try the strap, then you are just holding the foot and pushing out through the good thing about the strap is that you're kind of forcing that foot into flexion, and you have two hands to grip onto the strap. I've just stepped into a loop I made with the strap, and you can kind of lean back a little bit instead of kind of pulling forward or doing anything kind of weird in your posture. Just kind of allows you to get that foot up, just as if your ankle was kind of propped up on a high table. But it works your stabilizer muscles a little bit more than if the weight was taken off fully. Like if your leg was supported by a table, your muscles would not fire up so much as they are right now. We're just gonna hold this for one more breath, and then you can release. Okay, so you should feel that on your left ankle. Your left leg takes up a lot of load, and shake it out if you need to. And again, that's a little practice too. You can kind of, if you fall out, you just gotta keep repeating and falling and repeating and getting back into that position. You will feel that stretch in your hip flexor too on the right side, big time. We're gonna do that on the other side now. So we're gonna balance on the right foot, and then the left leg is going to come up. So again, hold onto your left knee if this is where you're at. Maybe one side feels a little bit awkward than the other, or less flexible. Maybe you need to do this on one side, but you could do the big hand to foot on the other side. That's completely fine. You just kind of meet yourself where you're at. And like I said, try not to use anything to hold you up. No tables, no walls, just your body weight, and you can use a strap. That's the only prop you can use. Okay, so holding the foot or using the strap, think about your posture. Think about your tailbone dropping down. You can bring your hand just onto your tailbone as well, just to kind of feel it, and just kind of know if you're rounding through your low back. Try to lean back a little bit so that you can get the stretch in your hip flexor. So you're getting that flexibility, or you're working towards that flexibility, but you're also working in your core to keep yourself stabilized as well. Ankle on that right foot should feel like it's working like crazy. Okay, and then we're going to release out. All right, so good job. Just walk it out, shake it out. We'll go through Vinyasa, and then we'll do some more with the strap. Okay, step to the top of the mat, reach the arms up, deep breath in, exhale down. Inhale halfway, exhale, step back to plank, to chaturanga, to up dog cobra. Just spend a little bit of time here, opening that chest, looking forward, lifting your belly, pulling the shoulders back, pressing the tops of the feet to the floor. Back to down dog. Tuck the toes, walk it out. Maybe moving the hips from side to side as well. Deep breaths in and out. All right, so step forward, top of the mat, halfway lift in and exhale. Inhale, rise up all the way, and then release. So next we're going to do the dancer's pose with the strap or without a strap. And like I did before, we'll just start without a strap, and then if you have one, then you can follow along with me. We're going to balance on the left foot first. So what you're going to do is bend into your right knee and catch the inside part of the foot. So the inner arch, and your hand is thumb out, fingers pointing to the right. Okay, and you just catch the top of your foot in with your hand. Now, what you want to do is work on pulling your shoulder back. Okay, so If you want to, again, this may be a challenge enough for most people just to hold the balance on the one leg. So just start here. Don't use any props. Put your hand on your hip, and if you fall out, then just let go of your foot, and then, or you could just practice doing that, the catch and hold and then let go. Okay, that's what you're going to practice doing. Then once you're feeling more comfortable, then you're trying to pull that knee back and you're trying to pull that right shoulder back. Once you feel more comfortable, then you start kicking your foot into your hand. So think about lifting your foot up, back behind you, kicking it up. Okay, and then you'll start to tip forward naturally, and then you can reach out with your left arm and reaching out. So keep practicing, fall out, take a break and practice again. I'm gonna show you with the strap here. I'm just gonna catch the top of my foot with the right foot, and I'm gonna bring the strap. I've just made a big loop, by the way, top of the foot, and I'm working on just walking my hands down the strap and focusing on lifting up through the side of the body. So this is quite a bit of a different, this is working towards the dancer pose, like the traditional dancer pose where you catch your foot behind your head. So that's working on getting the flexibility in the shoulders, but also getting the flexibility in the hips. So working on that, trying to bring the shoulders or elbows together, breathing, and then letting that go. So with the strap, you're just swinging it back around and then letting it go. Okay, just trying to, again, exit from some of these balance poses gracefully too, so don't feel bad about falling out of the poses, because you kind of need to practice that part too, to prevent injury. So if you try to not ever fall, then when you do fall and it's this big disaster, then that's not good either, right? You just need to practice the good graceful fall as well. So maybe it's good if you have somebody near you just kind of poking you on the shoulder. We're going to do the other side here, by the way. Left leg, and I'm just going to go right into the strap version. Otherwise, you're holding on to the inner arch of your foot with your left hand. Okay, and so other side, and again, just kind of, I'm just going to face the other side. Again, falling out, changing the position, or maybe you've tried the strap and you're trying holding your foot as well, so you can try both versions just to see what you like. Not one is kind of the right way or the best way. They're just different versions. So if you're in this position, and I know I need to work on my shoulders, so this is giving me quite a huge stretch in my shoulders and my traps and tops of shoulders. So it's quite a bit different than the handheld position without the strap. So just another deep breath in, and then you can release from there. Okay, give those legs a break. We're going to go through Vinyasa, and then we will move on to something else. So shake it out, coming to the top of the mat, and smoothing the arms up. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale halfway, and then exhale, step back. Lower through chaturanga, up dog cobra, and again, just kind of holding this pose, breathing deep. Pressing into the hands. Let's come back to child's pose, knees to the floor, settle back. All right, come on back up. Tuck toes under, lift up, down dog. And then step forward to the top. Halfway with inhale, exhale, fold, and then inhale, rise up all the way. Exhale, release. So next one, another classic pose is eagle pose. So we're going to balance on the right foot first. So again, try not to use any wall space around you, and I will show you modifications if you need them. So start by picking your toes up, being aware of your foot, place the toes back onto the ground, claw into the foot and into the ground, and really feel your foot. Okay, when you're ready, we're going to start, this is the way I like to start. We're going to just go right down into a squat position so that your hips just kind of feel grounded anyways, and your legs already are engaged in the way that we need them to be engaged. Then we're going to shift that weight into that right leg. Then we're going to lift that left leg over top. So if you're here, if you can just do figure four because of limited flexibility, that's fine. That's where you're going to be. Otherwise, you're twisted up a little bit more. Try to wrap this leg around the other leg. Try to wrap the foot around the calf if you can, but try not to be all twisted and kind of work in that pose. If you can't get the foot around the calf, that's fine as well. So knees pointing forward is pretty key as well, so that your hips are facing forward. So working on holding this pose, and then with the arm position, you're taking your right arm over your left arm. So open up, right arm over top, left elbow scoops up that right elbow, and then you're turning your hands so that they face each other, and there you are. So you can, if you're limited in shoulder mobility or flexibility, then this is what you're going to do. Just hug your shoulders and pull them forward. Grip into your shoulders, feel your shoulders, pull forward and breathe so that you're stretching, and you're also pulling those elbows down so that you can get that stretch. And then let it go. Stretch up. Exhale, fold forward. Breathe it out. Come on up all the way. Breath in, exhale. Other side. So again, we're just kind of starting in this Utkatasana-like pose. Feel your left foot, left toes lifting, place them onto the floor. All that energy and the mindfulness is going to go to your left leg. So we're going to balance there. That right leg is going to come up and over top. So again, twisting your legs like here or like here. That is fine. Arms are open, and the left arm is going to go over the right arm, and that right elbow scoops up the left elbow so you can pull up even more. If you're in the classic position, the arms, then start to pull the hands down and pull the elbows away from you so that you can get a little bit more of a squeeze out of it. Otherwise, like I said, you're here hugging your shoulders and just trying to activate the opening that way. One more breath. Okay, and then we're just releasing. Sweep arms up, inhale, exhale, fold forward, and breathe. Sway it out. All right, so stepping to the top of the mat, halfway lift, inhale, exhale, fold forward, step back into plank pose. Lower through chaturanga, lift into up dog cobra. Breathing deep. All right, and then come back into downward facing dog plus down dog. And we're going to kind of walk it out here. Bending into the right knee, bending into the left knee. Stretching those calves out, because that's a big thing too. With the balance pose, the calf muscles get really fired up, which is good. But now it's time to hit a stretch and cool down a little bit. So again, just kind of bending into the right knee, pulling the left heel down and just pushing that weight back into the heel, stretch the calf, and then bend the left knee and do the same for that right calf muscle. Pull back, push through the hands, and then releasing. So we're gonna release the knees down to the floor and then spin the legs around. And just get into a little bit more of just some stretching. So we're going to take that right leg straight out. The left foot is going to come in. Reach up with both arms and then exhale, fold forward. Okay, folding forward and then lift up halfway. So just like we do in our standing position, we kind of take this halfway lift, and that is just to get a little bit more length out of the low back. And then we fall back in to the full flex position in your spine. Again, halfway lift, lift a little bit more, mindful of your low back, lifting from it. And then exhale, fold. One more time, inhale, lift up. And your hand, you don't have to be touching your foot. Just lift up and then fold back in. And then we'll hold this for a little bit longer. As you're folding forward, think about this. Left knee pulling down, you can place your left hand on your left knee while you're holding onto your right foot or your right leg as well, just to keep, just to kind of open that hip here as you're folding. Come on up. We'll do a seated twist. So we're lifting that knees, pointing up, pull that left knee in, cross it over onto the outside part of the knee on your right side, and then hug that knee nice and tight in towards the body, and then start rotating to the left. Place your left hand behind you and twist. This is kind of one of my favorite seated twisting postures here. Really good to help just release the spine. You can hug if you feel like you're not getting the twist that you want, or a little bit deeper twist. Then you're taking that arm and digging your elbow into the outside of the leg and pushing down, and you're leveraging yourself into the twist a little bit more. So if you're doing that, just keep mindful of lifting up nice and tall, and right foot, toes, foot is flexed, so toes are up. You're trying to open the shoulder, maybe looking over your shoulder as well, just to get a little bit more of a neck stretch. And then releasing out. All right, so releasing out of that position and then switching sides. The right foot comes in, the left leg extends. Let's lift up first, take an inhale, and then exhale, fold forward. All right, halfway lift. And think about length. Exhale, fold. Inhale, lift. Lift your heart towards your toes or towards the front edge of your mat. Fold. Inhale. Exhale. One more time. Inhale. Low back. Exhale. And again, you can place your right hand on your right knee just to add a little bit of weight, and you'll start to feel that hip open up a little bit more, maybe a lot more, because sometimes your knee just kind of creeps up there and you don't know that you have the flexibility to kind of pull down and move into the stretch. Holding for another 2 full breaths. I'm just going to face this way here. And then releasing up. All right, pointing the right knee up, crossing it over to the left side. So this is just kind of keeping the hips square and anchored so that we can get that rotation there. So legs are kind of glued together, and then from there, then we can rotate the upper body. Well, and you also get that stretch from the low back. So low to mid and upper as well. Keeping your hips nice and in place here. So like I'm doing with the elbow on the outside, or just hugging the knee is fine too, and just rotating however comfortable you feel in rotating on this side. Keeping tall posture, looking over your shoulder. And maybe sing out. All right, so next balance pose. It's kind of technically a balance pose. Navasana, bota pose. So we're balancing on the sit bones, the sit bones here. So to progress, there's lots of ways. So you can just shift the weight back, so you're leaning back in your upper body, and then your knees are bent and your heels are onto the floor. So this is the beginner's boat pose. So you don't even need to lift a foot up off the floor. Most of the weight is in your sit bones, and you should feel the core fired up if you're leaning far back enough. Then you're progressing to lifting a leg up maybe and just holding it there, and then the next leg. So keep holding in your own progression. The full progression is with the legs straight, leaning back, arms are there, reaching out. Holding for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Okay, feet back onto the floor, and then we'll go into upward facing plank pose or tabletop. So hands back behind you. If you're taking the plank pose, reverse plank pose, then point your toes here and go ahead, lift, squeeze your glutes, lift up, roll your shoulders back. If that feels like it's too much, bending into your knees and lift and squeeze your glutes. Same thing though, a lot of power is happening in your legs to get that hip extension, which is what we really want. So if you can't do that while you're in the plank position, then try it here, and then you'll feel the hip extension. So the opening in your front body, hips, chest, shoulders, and then releasing down. All right, so now we are ready to get down onto the back from here. So let's go rolling like a ball and just massage the back. So again, kind of balancing on the tailbone a little bit for rolling like a ball. Tuck the chin in, and you're inhaling, rolling back, and exhaling, coming forward. Inhaling, rolling back, exhaling, coming forward. Okay, if this was too much on your back or tailbone, then you are just doing low back to mid or upper, low back to mid and upper, and just kind of using your legs to get momentum and less core. Okay, do 5 or 6 of those, and then come back onto your back for happy baby. Grabbing onto your knees, your shins, or your feet. You can hook onto your feet here and rock from side to side. And just letting some deep breaths in and out, letting some deep breaths go out through the mouth, some sighs out. Side to side, left to right here. All right, and then bring the feet onto the floor and cross your right ankle on your left knee and lift up your right leg. So thread the needle, grab onto your right hamstrings or clasp the front of your right shin just below the knee. And here's, we're not balancing or anything, here's where you can use a prop or something for this pose, so you can put your foot up against your your left foot up against the wall and just hold it there, or maybe your left foot is resting on maybe the seat of your couch or a stool, or just something like that, so that you don't have to focus on gripping and hugging as much, and then it turns more into kind of a passive position where you are still getting the stretch in your right glute, but you're not putting in a lot of effort into your arms or your shoulders. You're just fully relaxing that so that your legs can just focus on relaxing. One of the benefits from doing our yoga practices at home, right? And just kind of looking around the house to see what you can kind of prop yourself up against with some of these poses. Walls usually handy and not so handy in a yoga studio, or kind of finding a stool or something like that to help you. And then we're going to the other side. So we'll just go ahead and switch right around so that left ankle is on your right knee. And finding your grip, if you're doing a gripping position, or propping your right foot up on a stool, or using a wall to press against. So think about trying to relax though as best as you can, letting your head should be relaxed, your tailbone, your whole back should be on the floor and relaxed in this position. And taking those long deep breaths in and out is also key, especially the exhales. Actually taking some long exhales and just think about relaxing into the stretch, releasing into it. All right, so go ahead and release from there and grab onto both of your knees here, and you can either just kind of do a little grab, or you can do a mega hug, trying to wrap your arms around your legs, around your shins, and squeeze yourself up tight. So whatever feels best right now, but try to really breathe into that back, get a good stretch around your spine. Releasing, now head onto the floor. Let's take twists. Your knees above your hips. Knees together, arms are out to a T. Drop your knees to the left. And just kind of finding your progression here. So maybe straightening the bottom leg out from underneath. Just scissor the legs. If you want more of a twist, you can bring your left hand on the top leg, adding a bit of weight. And therefore just kind of stretching from that low back and through the glutes and IT, all that, all stretching out. And then your right shoulder, of course, kind of opening up from the chest to the shoulder, right out to the bicep and forearm. Breathing deep. Taking any kind of movements which feel good, and choosing your angle of your arm from your shoulder. Dropping your arm or lifting your arm. Maybe rocking the head from side to side. Alright, so slowly start to release out. Come back to center. Give yourself a hug. And release. Those knees are above your hips. Arms are out to a T, and the knees fall to the right side this time. So again, either just keep them together and relax and just let go and try to not move and be passive in the stretch, or you're scissoring the legs, maybe you're a little more active in doing kind of snow angel type motion, but it's completely up to you and how you feel comfortable in this pose. Make sure that you're breathing. I think that's kind of a key thing, just taking those long deep breaths in, long deep breaths out. Maybe relaxing your eyes or closing your eyes. going inside a little bit more as we start to approach the Shavasana stage of the practice. Preparing your brain to mentally preparing to just focus on your breath and just slowly letting your body go. Okay, we're going to release out and come back onto the back. Give yourself another hug. So either just a little hug or a monster hug. Give yourself lots of love. Gratitude for your body. And then releasing those feet to the floor. The knees are bent, and let's do windshield wipers before we get down to Shavasana. Just a quick twist here, left and right. Knees drop left and then right. Arms are out to a T. And you're just slowly moving and very lazily and very passively moving those knees from side to side. Take deep breaths in and deep breaths out. Start to imagine heaviness happening out through your whole body, starting with the soles of your feet, moving up through your ankles, into the knees, thighs, and hips. Good to slowly release from that movement and straighten one leg at a time and move into your Shavasana position, whatever that may be. You can lay on your side, you can prop yourself up with bolsters or blankets, cover yourself up with blankets. Try to minimize distraction that you think that you might be feeling in a little bit, just so that you can really get into focusing on your breath. Just for the next few moments, give yourself that gift. Otherwise, getting right into it, focusing on taking some long deep breaths in and out through the nose, or a deep breath in through the nose and a big breath out through the mouth. So mostly just thinking about when you're exhaling, think about really exhaling, and I mean thinking about your low back pulling down into the mat on your exhale, the rib cage coming down, and that there is no air left and you've fully exhaled out all the air. So just get it all out, and then just for about 3 or 4, and then resume your normal breathing. Just smooth inhales in through the nose and exhales out through the nose. You do want to make sure that the exhales are just a little bit longer than the inhales, just to help slow down the breath rate, slow down the heart rate, slowing everything down so that the body can completely let go and relax onto the mat. Think about your heels sinking down, backs of the knees, calves, backs of thighs, relaxing any gripping of the tailbone and root muscles. Fronts of thighs, shins, and feet. Completely relaxing your right leg and your left leg together. Breathing into your belly. Breathing into your low back. Long, smooth exhales coming out. Now moving up through the low back, the mid-back, softening the shoulder blades down through the upper back and up through the back of the neck. Allow the tops of the shoulders to release and sink down, pulling both the right arm and the left arm with them. Hands resting completely on the floor or on the mat. Bring your attention back up to the sides of the neck. softening through the back of the neck and through the head. Letting the weight of the head being completely released into the mat and earth. The whole back body resting to recharge. Bring your attention to space in your forehead, around the eyes, the heavy eyelids, the cheeks, around the mouth and jaw. Soften the sides of your neck and throat. Relax through the collarbones, your chest, abdomen, and navel. Your whole body breathing as one and relaxed as one here. Begin to bring your attention back to your breath. Some sound into your breath, and then a bit of movement happening through the fingers and toes, wrists, ankles. Feel free to continue on your Shavasana, your meditation, but I will guide you to the waking world along some movement and bring some intuitive stretching into it as well. So you can stretch out for morning stretch, those arms overhead. Bring it back into windshield wipers, nice and slow. And whatever kind of motion that you're making right now, just really slow and really mindful. Breathing into it. Notice your relaxed body breathing and just kind of flowing in your own kind of stretching pattern. Twists, yawning. Taking those arms overhead is really good for opening those shoulders up so that while your kind of spine is flat and your posture is kind of glued to the floor, and then you can really work on just opening the shoulders just by lying down on the floor. So it can be quite effective. We are going to roll around or roll over onto the right side and then come up to seated from there. So again, just kind of continue on any kind of stretching that feels good, neck releasing stretches, neck rolls. Otherwise, namaste and thanks for joining me. I will be doing another balance flow class next Monday with all different balancing poses. There's so many to do. It's pretty exciting. We didn't even do tree pose tonight, so that will be next week. But yeah, let me know what you guys think. And share this video if you like it. I'm gonna put all my videos on YouTube, so you can check me out there. I'm Melissa Shippey, and this is Live Elements Yoga. Thanks for watching. Happy Monday. Bye.